What is going on, guys? It's Idol here, and today we got a very special video. I'm going to be showing you my opinion on the characters with the best ultimates in the game, otherwise known as their elemental bursts. Let's get into it. Alright, so with this tier list here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the character's ult. I'm going to show you some quick gameplay on how the ult looks like, and then I'll place them on the tier list, based on my opinion, of course. This is subject to change, but this is solely based on the ultimate skill itself. It does not depend on the rest of the character. So you'll see some characters here that normally, based on the entire kit, they'll be a little bit lower, but this is just if you want a character in your party just for their elemental burst. So we're going to go in alphabetical order. We got Amber here. As you guys know, Amber's ult is very simple. It's called Fiery Rain. And with Fiery Rain, what it does is it fires off a shower of arrows, dealing continuous AoE pyro damage. So this is great for elemental reaction. Of course, she's a free-to-play character, so everyone's going to have Amber. But at the current state of the game, and this is going to be with 0 constellations, by the way, I'm going to have to put that ult in D tier. It doesn't provide a lot of utility. The enemies could just walk out of the ult, so you're not really left with much there. So we're going to go into Barbara next. So Barbara has a very nice ult. It's called Shining Miracle. It heals nearby allied characters and your characters in the party for a large amount of HP that scales off of Barbara's max HP. So when you're building Barbara, of course, you're going to build her with a lot of max HP just so this heal can be a larger amount. And in my opinion, this is a great ult. She can literally get swapped into when your party is weak, and she will boost your entire party back up to a generous amount of health. Of course, it depends on how you built her, but this is a really clutch character who can come in when your team's in a very dire spot and you maybe ran out of food or you don't have food, right? So Barbara's really great. In my opinion, her ult will definitely land her in the A tier. She could be in the S tier. It's literally like she's right here. I'm going to put her in the A tier because the characters that I have in the S tier, I feel like their ults are a little bit better. So next is going to be Beidou. Beidou has a really incredible ult as well. It's very unique, something that, not any other character would have. It's called Stormbreaker. What it says is when normal or charged attacks hit, they create a lightning discharge that can jump between enemies, dealing electro damage. Increases Beidou's resistance to the interruption, triggers a maximum of 1 lightning discharge per second. The keyword in the sentence is that it jumps between enemies. So this is just not going to be on one enemy. It can go through multiple enemies and apply the electro status condition on them. So this way you can start doing your synergies with your characters. I mean, it's not a bad ult. It's very selfish. And for that reason, Beidou's ult is going to be in the B tier. It does a lot of damage though. That's why I'm not putting it where Amber's ult is. Since it has a good scaling, I'm going to put her in B tier. Now we're going to get into Bennett. Bennett has a very interesting ult. Bennett's ult is called Fantastic Voyage. So what he's going to do, he's going to jump and deal pyro damage, creating an inspiration circle. You're going to see a little thumbs up on the ground right there. If the health of a character in the circle is equal to or falls below 70%, their health will continuously regenerate. If the health of the character is higher than 70%, they gain an attack bonus equal to a set of percentage based off of Bennett's attack. In both cases, characters inside the circle will also gain the Pyro affix. To make it simple, you're under 70%, you're healing all the time, which is amazing. You're above 70%, you're dealing more damage, and that's based off of Bennett's attack, which you can easily get that attack stat on him by artifacts, weapons. Very simple. Then on top of that, your attacks are going to be mixed in with pyro. So if you're using a character who's an electro element, let's say like Fischl, now you're going to be doing overloaded. For this sole purpose of the ult itself, I'm going to put Bennett's ult in S tier. There's been a lot of videos that show the crazy numbers that you can reach with Bennett's ult, in combination, of course, with some other stuff. So for that reason, I'm going to put him at S tier. Really great ult. It's not based on the rest of his kit. Next, we have Chongyun. So Chongyun's ult is called Spirit Blade, Cloud Parting Star. He performs a secret hand seal. He summons 3 giant spirit blades in the midair that falls to the earth one after one. After a short delay, they explode on the ground. When the spirit blades explode, they will deal AoE cryo damage and launch enemies. So a couple things here. It has a decent radius. It's an AoE skill, so you're going to be doing cryo to a lot of enemies, which can set up your reactions. And it'll launch enemies by pushing them away from you. So it's a very interesting ult because there is some utility behind it. It has like a decent scaling. It's just kind of short and lackluster in my opinion. And for that purpose alone, it's gonna be put right here in C tier. Let's get into our man, the main man, Diluc. So, I mean, all you've seen is ultimate by now. It's all over. He releases intense flames. Look like a phoenix. They'll push back enemies, deal pyro damage. On top of that, it'll leave a trail on the ground of pyro as well. For if enemies are in that, they'll burn. His weapon will then will get infused with pyro. So for a short amount of time, his auto attacks will be infused with pyro damage. So, I mean, there's a lot of utility in this ult. The flames there will stay underground, so if you switch into someone who can swirl them, any Anemo character, there'll be great synergy there. You can cause elemental reactions, like Overloaded, for example, or Vaporize when the enemies are burning. It's great synergy there. You can use this in Spiral Abyss to push enemies off the ledge. That's pretty awesome. And he does a lot of damage itself. So, of course, the main purpose of this is to do damage, but when you combine in the rest of it, the fact that it also helps his auto attacks too, I'm going to put this right up here with Barbara. Just because each of those separate things can help out the team as a whole when you start adding in elemental reactions. Next, we got our girl Fischl. I mean, you guys already know what am I going to do with this. Fischl's ult is called Midnight Phantasmagoria. So what she's going to do is she's going to summon Oz. Oz is going to deal a bunch of damage when he gets popped out. She's going to get increased movement speed in this form. She'll strike nearby enemies, dealing electro damage. Each enemy can only be struck once. Once the ability ends, Oz will remain on the battlefield doing Oz things. So, she broken. What can I say? This ult will refresh Oz's cooldown, and that in itself is crazy OP. Oz is OP just to have a unit there that's dealing a ton of damage and always pumping out electro damage. I have to put Fischl's ult all the way in S tier because there's no stopping Fischl. She a baddie. She double S tier. What am I talking about S tier? I don't even know what I'm saying right now. She's gonna be in double S tier. Yeah, she good. Alright, next on the list we got is Jean. So Jean's ult is called Dandelion Breeze. She'll call upon these winds for protection. It's going to be a little field that she puts out. And enemies that are around her at this period will get launched, causing Anemo damage. While this is going on, she's going to regenerate a large amount of HP for nearby allied units and all party members. If you're in co-op, it's going to heal your party as well. And the HP that's restored is scaling off of her attack. So you can build her sort of like a DPS, or just like a bruiser in a sense, where she'll have a lot of HP percent and attack percent, and this will help heal more with her ult. Dandelion Field, while it's there, will continuously regenerate HP for one ally, and that's a key term 1, so it's going to do a big burst initial heal for your whole team, but while it's sitting on the field, whichever ally's out currently, that's the one who's going to get regened. And they're going to get imbued with the Anemo attribute. So this is just going to deal additional Anemo damage to enemies entering or exiting the field. And you can use this to do like combination with swirls or anything else that's going to lengthen the current status effect enemies are receiving. So Jean's ult is going to get her placed in S tier. The reason why is because unlike Barbara's ult, that just heals the entire party, not only does she does the burst heal, it'll be a continuous heal on the field with the damage and the imbuing of the Anemo element, which will, of course, cause your allies to have a bunch of synergies going on. That's what pushes her above Barbara. So next we're going to go into Kaeya. His ult is Glacial Waltz. He's going to summon 3 icicles around him, and these will like circle around him. They'll follow around the character and deal cryo damage to the enemies. It doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. The damage scaling is okay. The perk about this is it's continuous, so you can have it there while spamming your other skills. He's better than Amber, but this ult doesn't do as much setup as much as like Beidou. So for that reason, he's going to be in C tier, right behind Chongyun. Now, we got Keqing next. So her ult is called Starward Sword. She just does a bunch of electro damage in an AoE. And at the end of it, she'll do like a big slash. And it'll do a lot more damage. This attacks multiple enemies. And it'll also leave the electro status condition on them for you to do your elemental reactions with. So she has a very high scaling ult, especially after they fixed the whole thing with the artifacts going on with her. I would put her in A tier for the same reason as Diluc. Has more ult scaling than Beidou, so that's why she's sitting right in A tier. But there's just not a whole lot of team utility where I could put her in S tier. Alright, next we got the new girl on the block, Klee. Her ult is called Sparks and Splash. She's gonna do a Blazing Delight. She's gonna summon a bunch of sparks and splashes, is what they term this as, to attack nearby enemies, dealing AoE pyro damage. While this is going on, it doesn't really do a lot. The damage scaling is okay. It's not the greatest. In my opinion, she should go in the same tier as Beidou, because it's not doing really much. Okay, next we got Lisa. So Lisa, you guys know, is one of the free-to-play units you get during the game. She has an ult called Lightning Rose. Summons a Lightning Rose that unleashes powerful lightning bolts, launching surrounding enemies and dealing electro damage. The Lightning Rose will continuously emit lightning to knock back enemies and deal electro damage for so long as it persists. So it's a consistent knockback. It deals electro damage, which you can synergize with the rest of your team. This actually has really great damage scaling. If you get some really good artifacts on Lisa, she could do some great damage. For that reason, I'm going to put her right here in B tier. Okay, so now we got Mona. One of my personal favorites when it comes to the ults. Her ult is called Stellaris Phantasm. Now, she's going to summon the sparkling waves and create a reflection area of the starry sky, applying the Illusory. She's going to apply this bubble status to the opponents in a large AoE. Now, while they have this bubble applied, they're going to be floating around you, trapped in a bubble. So it's making them immobile. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's going to get them wet. So this is when you could set up your reactions. Third, when an opponent affected by the bubble sustains damage, the following effects will happen. They're going to get an omen applied, which gives them a damage bonus, which is going to increase the damage of that attack that caused it. So you're getting you could say this is like a brand you're getting from Summoner's War. You're going to get increased damage to that character. So you can combo this with ults. You can Mona ult into Keqing ult, and you're going to be able to have increased damage with said ult. You can just build Mona as a straight DPS because at the end of the ult, the bubble will pop, dealing a lot of hydro damage in the process. It's crazy. It does literally, I mean, what do I gotta say? Holds them in place, puts a curse on them so you can do more damage with your other characters. She'll deal a lot of damage. It's a very great ult. And if you want to increase your team's DPS in certain scenarios, definitely recommend Mona. She's gonna get double S tier right here next to the girl official. Alright guys, quick note here before we continue on. If you guys are enjoying the Genshin Impact content, please make sure to subscribe and like the video. That shows me you guys are appreciating the content, and it'll get you guys entered in the Primo Gem giveaway that I'm doing once I reach my first 100 subscribers. So I'd love to grow the channel for you guys. Please make sure if you're enjoying it, hit that subscribe button down below for some more Genshin Impact content. Alright, let's continue with the video. So next we got Ningguang. So her ult is called Star Shatterer, gathering a great number of gems. She's going to scatter them all at once, sending homing projectiles at her enemy, deals massive geo damage. If it's cast when a jade screen is nearby, the jade screen will fire an additional gem projectiles at the same time. So she'll shoot out some rocks, it'll do some damage. If she got her other skill up, it'll shoot out some extra rocks. It's hard to say where she is because, man, that ult is really, really selfish. It doesn't really do much for the team itself. And if I'm basing it solely off of how this helps the rest of the team, you gotta be right here. There's not a knock-up. There's not a condition being left on your teammates to follow up on. Yeah, she has to sit at C tier. Alright, so next on the list, we got Noelle. As you guys know, also a free-to-play character. Her ult is called Sweeping Time. So what she does is she gathers the strength of the stone around her weapon, strikes the enemy surrounding her in a large AoE, dealing geo damage. Afterwards, she will gain the following effects. She has larger attack AoE, converts attack damage to geo damage, increases attack, that scales based off of her defense. So, 3 things happen here. Oh, it's actually 4. She's going to attack the enemies in a large AoE, so dealing damage to them. This increases her standard attack range as well. And the key thing is that last sentence that says she's going to start scaling her damage off of her defense. So if you also have defense in your artifacts or on your weapon, that's going to increase your damage by a lot. The converting the attack damage to geo damage is alright. Since geo is like a Nemo and they don't add like a crazy amount of bonus damage to the reactions, like for example, it's not like Electro and Pyro. It's not a bad like after effect, but it does boost her damage up a lot. She's not nothing like Diluc and anyone in A tier really, but she's a solid B tier because that does give her a lot of damage. Alright, next we got ChiChi. Good old ChiChi. So ChiChi's ult. It's called Adaptus Art, Preserver of Fortune. ChiChi releases the Adaptus power sealed within her body, marking nearby enemies with a fortune-preserving talisman that deals cryo damage. What the talisman does is when enemies affected by this talisman take damage, the character that dealt this damage regenerates HP. So, you can drop this ult, switch into MC, your MC's like at 20% health, and as your MC is attacking any of the characters that have this talisman, the MC is going to be healing. On top of that, they're going to get dealt with cryo damage. So if you're in a character that, you know, is, for example, like Electro, you're going to get Superconduct. It's pretty good. Pretty good. What's really good is that it lasts for a long time. You have control of the heals, as well as the elemental reaction is always going to remain there. For that reason, ChiChi's ult is going to get a double S, because that healing is redonkulous. Alright, so we're going to move into the boy Razor. So Razor's pretty badass. His ult is called Lightning Fang. What he does is he summons the wolf, and while he's attacking, the wolf is also going to attack with him. So it deals electro damage, raises Razor's attack speed, and electro res. Raises Razor. Raises Razor. Raises Razor. Say that 10 times fast. So it causes Razor to be immune to damage inflicted by the electro charge status, which is disables Razor's charged attacks. Decreases Claw and Thunder cooldown by 18%, which is the E skill. Uses Lightning Fang, resets the cooldown of Claw and Thunder. So he's just going to be attacking a lot faster, and you're getting like 2 attacks in one, but they scale a lot higher. So same reason as the other ones, it's a selfish ult. It only benefits him, but it highly increases the damage that he puts out. So for that reason, he is going to be in B tier. Alright, so next up on the list, we got Demon's girl, Sucrose. Sucrose has the ult name Forbidden Creation, Isomer 75, Type 2. So what she does is she hurls an unstoppable concoction that creates a large wind spirit. While it persists, the large wind spirit will continuously pull and launch nearby enemies, dealing AoE and Nemo damage. If the wind spirit comes in contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro elements, it will deal additional elemental damage of that type. So you launch this little butterfly thingy-mabobber, and it's going to pull and push enemies over and over. You switch into Fischl, for example, drop Oz. Oz's reaction is going to deal additional damage as well. Quick example. She's awesome. That ult has a good range and has also a decent length of time. So that duration is actually pretty good. She's a great character, and the rest, I can't talk about the rest of her kit because we're only talking about ults, but she's definitely deserving of A tier. That ult is very beneficial to your team. You're boosting your team's elemental damage, and on top of that, you're also controlling enemy movements with the push and pull while they're in the area. Great ult. I'm not going to do the MC, but if you guys want to know, the MC's wind ult, the Nemo ult is very good. It's kind of like a budget Venti because it's a tornado that'll launch enemies up, throw them away. So while they're in there, it'll do the swirl with the element. Of course, the MC doesn't really have a lot of other perks other than that at the moment. But I'm not going to put that MC on the main list because most of the time people switch out the MC and have every other character on the list anyways. Speaking of Venti, he's the boy on the list next. So, let's get into the Wind's Grand Ode. Venti fires off an arrow, and it sucks people in. That's it. So pretty much, it deals continuous and evil damage. Enemies will continuously get pulled into the ult. This thing lasts a long time. Like, when I first did it, I sat there like, is this thing gonna end? Bro, this is broken. It lasts a long time. And then, of course, if you're gonna put it in contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro, it's gonna deal that additional damage. So, for me, in my pay-to-play ass, I launched Dilux's Phoenix into it, and there's just a bunch of shit happening. Yep. It's an amazing ult. You can combo with every character in the game. It's really good in Spiral Abyss. I mean, it's really good throughout the entire game, but just Spiral Abyss has so much more potential because you're dealing with hordes of enemy consistently. It's also good on domains. Venti's ult is definitely double S tier. Alright, so next we got the girl Jingling. So she is a free-to-play character. Her ult is called Pyronado. Now, this displays her mastery over both fire and pole arms. She's going to send the Pyronado whirling around her. The Pyronado will move with your character for so long as the ability persists, dealing pyro damage to all enemies in the path. What's really great about this ult is if you switch into another character, let's say Fischl, it will stay on Fischl. So you can run up to enemies with Fischl, it'll deal pyro damage to them. You can drop Oz. Oz is autoing. You're standing still. Maybe you gotta go. So, very great utility for the team to keep the reactions going. You can just use her as a support. A lot of people use her as a DPS, but she is very good for support reasons also because of that ult. And I'm going to put that ult right here in A tier because there's just a lot of utility you can do. And Pyro is such a great element to combine with Electro because Overloaded does a lot of damage, right? And last character we got here on the list today is going to be Xingqi. His elemental burst is Guhua Sword Rain Cutter. And what it does is your active character normal attacks will trigger consecutive sword raining attacks, dealing hydro damage. Rain swords will remain at the maximum number throughout the ability's duration. These effects carry over to other characters. So you can always have hydro damage out, pretty much kind of similar to Jingling's ult, since it'll transfer from character to character and you're getting those additional attacks also, so for some extra bonus damage, and it's going to put the wet effect on the character who's moving over, right? It's not as good as Jingling because it's not... This character in general kind of sucks if I'm only basing it off the ult, which the tier list is. Like, it doesn't do that much damage as Jingling's ult. It does have sort of the same effect. And for that reason, I'm going to put his ult right here. Now, of course, if this was like a character tier list, which I will do one once patch 1.1 drops, and I get to actually judge the characters off of my own gameplay and artifacts implemented and all that stuff with the weapons too. I'll do an actual full character tier list with everything. This is just something I wanted to do based off of only the elemental burst. So this is not the character's full kit once again. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment down below your favorite elemental burst in the game. I'll see you in the next one. Love y'all. Peace. Pretty much, it's interesting. It's kind of... Again, this is just the elemental burst tier list. This is not based on the